This is episode 79 of the Rebel Scum Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I don't know if you tune in or not, but thanks a lot for joining us here on the YouTube channel or on Apple iTunes.
Yeah.
We're nowhere else right now. I'm James. This is
Brock.
Please, if you like this video, if you like Star Wars, like and subscribe, because all we do is talk about Star Wars. If you do not like Star Wars, I don't know what to say. If you are watching us or listening to us on iTunes, please give us a star rating or a review or both.
Yeah.
Or
is it like and
whatever.
subscribe?
I don't know. You can subscribe. Yeah. That would be great. Also, because again, we talk all Star Wars all the time. We have multiple shows. It's not only these two guys. It's also the other way around with both of us.
Yeah.
Talking.
He wears my clothes, I wear his clothes.
This is actually Brock's shirt.
Oh.
And if but anyway, thanks a lot, guys. It means a lot to us for tuning in. January is wrapping up. If you have not seen our January shows, it's been fantastic. We did a Duel of the Fates Star Wars trivia show, which went up last evening. Dan Allen versus our own Andrew Fantasia. Before that, we did our Last Jedi Roundtable 1 month after, kind of a recap of what our feelings. And we started the year and the month off with our ranking Star Wars.
Yeah.
So check those ones out. February is coming up. We got some cool stuff coming to you in February, along with obviously the regular shows. We also have, we're going to do some Reylo content coming up. And I'm really actually excited for March.
Why are you excited?
I'm excited for Reylo, but I'm excited for March. Because March, we got the novelization coming out and the Blu-ray coming out, and we might be doing something live with you guys in March. So stick around for that. Earlier today, we did Brock and I did Parsecs, our Han Solo movie show. So check that out if you haven't. And we also have Patreon. Do you want to tell everybody about Patreon?
Hit us up on Patreon. Check, do we search Rebel Scum Podcast, and there's different tiers. If you like us, give us some money. Why not? But check us out, patreon.com, Rebel Scum Podcast. The first tier is $1. That gives you early access to all of our stuff we put out, and also a new show called Cloning Around, which we still have to figure out. But yes, we will. It will be primarily about the Clone Wars TV show, which a lot of everyone loves. A lot of everyone. Second tier is $2. Every tier includes what came before. This one especially has Star Wars, the documentary show that our good enemy Andrew Fantasia can't stand you. No. He's working on that. I haven't seen anything about that. I don't know what's going on with that, it's coming.
We should actually do a pre-documentary on that so you guys can see his spreadsheet. It is the most impressive thing. Like, it's better than Wikipedia.
It's like
I'm not even joking. Like, he has well, you know what, I'll go to Andrew's maybe next week and I'll shoot a thing.
It's like he's totally beautiful minding the whole thing.
He literally, it's this spreadsheet, it's all color coded. it's phenomenal. And
our third tier is $3 with all the stuff prior, and you will have, if you have emails like questions, theories, anything, top 5 choices, we will use them for our shows. We will read them on the show and also include on Scavenger Scum, our exclusive news show. And then our final tier is $10 early, so all that stuff, plus a chance to be on Duel of the Fates or a Vote of No Confidence. It's your choice. You could be a guest on one of our shows. That would just brighten your life by 10%. So, but yeah, check us out.
And also, every single person that is subscribes to Patreon is in the Last Jedi Blu-ray contest, which we will announce in March.
Yes,
it'll be announced before the movie comes out, so don't pre-order it if you're on Patreon. Yeah. So, and that's for all tiers of Patreon are into that. All right, are you ready to start the show?
I am ready.
I've got to go, guys. Brock will take it on his own. Brock, have a good show.
So I often think about, why do I exist, and why won't anyone love me?
All right, we got a Twitter question from @JD_Lunar. Oh, I gotta make sure I'm saying
JD Lunar 3.
Do you want to see what it is?
Luke's return, is Mortis the key? Asked by JD Lunar 03 @JD Lunar 03.
Do you think Mortis could be the key to Luke's return?
This is kind of. Is there more to this question, or is that exactly how
Here we go.
he or she
here
asked
it is, right here, prepared. Hey guys, got a question, and I'm not sure if it's even possible, but after listening to the Mortis arc, I know how Abrams can retcon Luke. Simple. Leia sacrifices herself to bring him back, like the daughter and Ahsoka. Now, there wouldn't be a time lapse because it would have to be immediately. But is that too far-fetched? With Carrie Fisher dead, I'm sure it wouldn't take too much to make that happen, and you have a living OG member for 9.
First, side Akbar, what is everyone's obsession? And I'm not critiquing J.D. Lunar. What is everyone's obsession with, what's the word? Bringing people back to life. Like, that's literally never happened in the series. I know it gets talked about quite a bit, but, like, why are we so focused on this? Like, I understand in this situation it's so that Luke can be alive again, but, like, I just don't know the obsession. Like, it's sort of, you know, besides, like, the mention of Darth Plagueis and Anakin's obsession with, like, bringing his mother back to life, like, why is this a focus? You know what I mean?
Well, this is so that an original trilogy member can live.
Right. I don't know.
I think for a lot of people, Luke's death doesn't hit. I'll say this: and I put Han Solo in my top 5 deaths, but I still feel like they haven't done a great job with killing off the original trilogy characters. Like Han's death, you're kind of like, there's a moment missing in Han's death where it could have been more powerful. And Luke, I think because a lot of people are not on board with Luke. It's like his redemption at the end, depending on 9, is flat in 8, because what does he accomplish? He basically is like, I'm gonna stall. You guys run out and but there's still no plan because like Rey's got to be there, like, and then he dies, and there's still another movie. Like his death, what impact does his death have on the story as a whole? I think that's where a lot of people feel empty about it, and so. You know, he says in this one is retcon Luke, and that way Luke can have a proper send-off. I don't think it'll happen, to be honest, but I think a proper send-off.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Luke coming back as like a Force ghost or something for me, I mean, it doesn't have to happen. Like I said last week, I'm done with Luke.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so tired of him. But like, you know, it just, I think a lot of people feel like his death fell flat. No pun intended.
You know... I was satisfied with it because it's sort of like everything he says in that movie inevitably sort of comes true. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to die on this island. He dies on the island. It's like, this is not the way you're going to go. The Jedi have to end. Blah, 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 blah. And
I have a question for you. Side Akbar in here.
Yeah.
He goes to die on the island.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is there a map leading to him to go to the island? And why does Han Solo say he was looking for the first Jedi temple?
I mean, I was thinking about this recently. It's like, there's so many questions we don't answer. Like, how, like, and maybe they're not as significant as the one you just asked. It's like, well, like, how did Kylo get Darth Vader's mask? Like, why this, that, like, I think there's so much about Luke and Kylo's relationship we do not know that the second you explain it, I'm assuming it's a satisfied explanation, makes most of this stuff make sense. I know that's an easy way to cop out, like, but it's just like there's so many little things that are like, well, why does he do this? Why is he obsessed with being Darth Vader? Why does he have the helmet? Why does he want that lightsaber? Why? I mean, it could be nothing. It could be a lot of different things. Why does Luke do, like, why? There's so many things that it's like, well, the only solution is to kill him in his sleep. I'm like, okay, like, well, all right. And then, like, well, yeah, why do you go anywhere? Why do you tell anyone anything? Like, maybe just as a reason to get you there, but, like, that's, I don't know.
I'm curious, because, okay, so all of this stuff for me, I'm like, okay, 9 now. If 9, we're gonna go into a little bit, but if 9 wraps it up, does it have to tell us, like, does it have to flesh out those moments, like, and will it flesh out those moments? Because I feel like there's 2 ways to look at 9. One, You can look at the moments and be like, well, I'm gonna have to explain this
Yeah.
and explain this, or you just go, I accept that this, and I'm talking as J.J. Abrams here. This is my ending. He has way better hair than me, by the way. But this is my ending.
Yeah.
To like this stuff is already like, because what you just said, it's established as it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Like, because Luke's like, well, I had a lapse in judgment. I wanted to kill him. He like JJ could take that at face value and just be like, I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell my ending. Or he can be like, nah. Because the one thing I do kind of feel is in our roundup we talk about, I think it was a roundup where we talk about there was that rumor where Luke went up there on the cliff to kill himself, to jump off or whatever, commit suicide. So, and people are bringing it up now. It's interesting because at the end of Force Awakens, he's wearing his robes, and originally the rocks were supposed to go around him. We talked about it in our disconnect video, and the rock, and so he's in his robes. J.J. Abrams had a vision of Luke powerful in the Force.
Right.
Ryan Johnson stripped that.
Yeah.
For better or worse, he stripped that. Does J.J. then go back, because he can very, very easily retcon Luke in a way that won't feel like a retcon, but make him still the Luke that JJ was leading us to, not the one that Ryan Johnson gave us. And I don't mean to stop him from being, mopey, quote unquote, and all that stuff. I just mean, obviously JJ Abrams felt like Luke would still have the Force.
Yeah.
And he went up there for a different, and I think in JJ Abrams' mind, Luke was up there when Rey met him for a different reason than why Ryan Johnson believes. And that right there could answer, if J.J. Abrams decides to go that route, then that could answer all of your questions. Like,
right.
Those in that area.
In the original trilogies, is it ever really explained to us why Obi-Wan is on Tatooine? Like, we know he's there to watch over Luke, but like, is it really explained in the original movies? Or is that more a Clone War or like
no? It's
prequel?
Not really explained. He's just there.
He's just there,
hermit. But here's the issue with comparing these ones to the original trilogies is history.
Yeah.
The original trilogy is creating a universe.
Yeah.
Now we live in a universe that is 40 years after what we already know is set up for 60 years, right? So anything that happens now, we have the right to ask questions to, because we know the history. Whereas the original trilogy, you could do whatever you wanted with no explanation because there's no backstory.
Yes and no. We don't know what happens between. We have a better hint of it from Last Jedi, but like, we don't know what happens after Return of the Jedi.
No, that's what I mean. Like any of that stuff, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, we don't need to know why he's on Tatooine in New Hope.
True.
But now, if Luke is on Ahch-To, why? Because we've been on a journey with Luke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So where they kind of give us an answer to that stuff. But like, what I'm saying is, and I've said this with the Snoke thing and with all that, is like, well, no, because we lived in a world without Snoke, and now you've told us that Snoke has been in this world the whole time. Like, tell him, like, there's, like, you can't do that. You could do that when you're the first. Like, Ryan Johnson starts his new trilogy. There's the bad guy. You don't even know anything about the bad guy. He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But if there's a third trilogy after that takes place in that's just, that's part 8. It's part 8. That's what I'm saying. It's like, we have a history now.
Yeah.
Tell me the history. Like, don't just. It's just. It gets to the point of laziness when you're like, this is the new bad guy because he has to be the bad guy, and stuff like that. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, so the Mortis part of this.
Do you think Mortis will ever show up in a movie?
I don't know. I'm all for it because I do find. I mean, look at the trailer coming out for the second part of Rebels. We saw that part. We're like, oh! I mean, like it's a 3-episode arc in the Clone Wars. I don't think it's ever mentioned again, but I don't know. I mean, it might be, but like, it's something that's interesting. I feel like they definitely want to do that, like, spiritual part of the Force because, I mean, in Dr. Phasma, she finds a relic
Dr.
of.
Afra? I would watch Dr. Phasma.
Dr. Phasma. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm tired. Dr. Afra.
That was her first job.
She finds a relic that has to do with like parts of the original Jedi Order and like how it was like the history is like vague on like how they dealt with the Force. So I think there is a general interest in like manipulating that kind of lore, I guess. I mean, but at the same note, we have Last Jedi where it's like, well, the old Jedi texts, they're not really interesting and they're not really comprehensible at times. Like, maybe we don't do something because somebody told us that. Maybe we have a new thought, and that's kind of, I think, what the point of the Yoda scene is. So, do I want to see more Mortis? Yes, because it was very interesting. But, you know, it's a little... How do you explain that in a movie?
Yeah,
you just mention it, that's fine, but like...
Well, not everybody that watches the movies will have seen the Clone Wars or whatever is going to happen in Rebels.
Yeah.
So I just don't... I think it might be too far out there for a movie. Now, I will say this. I don't think we're going to see much from Clone Wars ever make its way into films for a while. Now, when the film... I think, you know, if Disney keeps Star Wars going, which I know a lot of you don't want, but if it keeps going... And it goes and it goes and it goes. And it gets to a point where they're making movies in like 20 years. And the people that grew up watching Clone Wars, like if they're like, Clone Wars is my Star Wars, then I think you'll start seeing the Clone Wars aspects of it sneak into the movies more. But now I think, you know, Rian Johnson, you know, he might know of the Clone Wars. He might have even watched it. But I don't think he doesn't relate to it like he does the movies. And it's the movies. And that's why I think, you know, with Force Awakens, there's no prequels happening, right? It's because J.J. Abrams doesn't respond to the prequels. He responds to the original trilogy. And I think that's what it is. And I think until the filmmakers who lived in that era and experienced the Clone Wars as their Star Wars, I just don't think those things are going to trickle in because Mortis is difficult to explain to a lot of people. And I think The Last Jedi proved this, is people want to go to a Star Wars, and the prequels proved this too, so I shouldn't just say Last Jedi. But people want to go see The Force Awakens. They just want to see a fun movie with some music and some space battles, and you know, have some popcorn in their mouth. And I think that is, and look, for right or wrong, that movie made $2 billion. Yeah. And it reinvigorated the franchise. And then even Rogue One is like to a lesser extent the same as Force Awakens in that respect. Like I like Rogue One a bit better, and everyone dies. Yeah. But like, the question is, and we have to do a show on this, I think, is what is Star Wars? You know, that's the question. And I just think, like, because when you do the prequels where they're like, we're going to talk and we're going to have Senate meetings and this and that, and people are like, what? And then when you have Force Awakens, everyone's like, yay. And then a year later, they're like, boo. And then you have The Last Jedi where they're like, well, we're going to do this and that and this and that. And it's not, I don't think Last Jedi is that much different from any other Star Wars movie. No. But it treats things differently. And then all of a sudden people are like, no. Yeah. And so that I think we've got to figure out first before we bring Mortis in.
Yeah. It's almost like people... It's like people want action. Go, 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 go. So it's like, well, Disney, just make it Fast and the Furious for Star Wars.
Solo.
Exactly.
And then what do? They bitch about it.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, the thing with Solo is, sorry, Brock, but they're like, okay, I don't want a Han Solo movie. You're not getting it. They're giving you, I haven't seen the trailer, but they're giving you like the popcorn film that you're excited about. That's going to bring you back to what you like about Star Wars. Yeah. Which is completely different from what we thought when they first announced everything, where it was like the trilogy would be everything we know about Star Wars and the spin-offs would be different. But now they've spun it around. But like all anyone does is complain about Star Wars. I don't want to get into it anymore. So take it.
Biden. So yeah, like what were we talking about? Mortis. I think it's very, what's the word? It's so unique to this, like the Force. The Force is just like, it's just like an energy you tap into, and then all of a sudden these are the sides of the Forces personified. Like, and you go into like this big like it's not a cube. It's not really a triangle. It's not. It's like it's big as a planet. It's like a diamond, right? Like those like shapes that in Sims that would go over your sim. Yeah. That's what the thing looks like, and it opens up and it sucks you in, and then you're like, where am I? I'm like, I did some research and then I fell asleep. It's cool. It looks, but it kind of looks hokey. Like it's like that looks like the Borg cube from Star Trek. Yeah. But again, like there was a lot of fun. It was one of the points in Clone Wars where they just took a chance on something, and a lot of people gravitated to it. So I don't know. I think it just won't translate in the movie, but you could. Like, how awesome would it be if whatever the stained glass picture that we see in the trailer, you see that at some point in the movie? That'd be great. They're like, oh, like.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think Mortis won't be in a movie.
No,
maybe ever. But I think bringing Luke back through that is a plausible idea, but one I don't think they'll do in the films.
Yeah,
I think Luke is dead. He will stay dead.
Force Ghost?
Rob really thinks that because Carrie Fisher passed away, that Luke will be a Force Ghost for the majority of the movie.
Yep.
Like I said last week, I kind of just want him to... Although the idea that he could haunt Kylo intrigues me, but until we know what this movie's about, I don't really want to even speculate on that.
Right.
But do you want Force Ghost Luke?
Yes and no. I mean, I think we need to move on. I think it's just like, let's just be about Rey, Finn, Poe, and Kylo. Let's figure out where we're going to end with that. If we're going to end. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I feel that there's a finiteness to some of those characters, right? Because I think we said it before, if the final showdown between Kylo and Rey, which has to happen in the last movie, if they don't both sort of sacrifice each other to eliminate each other, it won't be satisfying. It's like, if Rey wins, it'd be like, okay. Yeah. I don't know. But again, like, their connection, even though Snoke makes it, is kind of similar to a Mortis sort of thing, where it's like, we connect somehow, we balance each other out. So it's like that relationship between, it's like, there's Jedi and Sith, but they don't connect in any way. But they've decided to make these two connect for some reason. So if one falls away, then how can the other one exist? So I don't know.
Let's talk about episode 9.
Episode 9. What's it about? Well, I don't know.
That's the thing. So everyone left The Last Jedi going, well, what's 9 about?
Yeah.
Well, what can't it be about? And that is like, people have lost so much sight on it because I think they're so mad at The Last Jedi and it felt so final. But there's still another movie. Mm-hmm. And the possibilities are way more endless than they ever have been, ever, because we're like, well, now anything is possible.
Yep.
First things first, can they end it in one movie? Do they have to end it in one movie?
I want it to be one movie because, one, not that I'm not saying this is what you're trying to get at, but this new Form of Trilogy where the third one is 2 parts is like, no, don't do that.
Well, that's dead.
Yeah.
Because even the Avengers were like,
yeah,
we can't do that.
No, exactly. So I hope it's nothing foolish like that. I think what disorients people on this is we don't see a bond per se between our main cast. Like Luke is, even though Luke spends a lot of time away from Han and Leia, he's always trying to get back to them or protect them or something. We see it with Finn and Rey, but like Poe sort of like, it's sort of like they're just connected through other people, like 7 degrees of Snoke or something like that. Like,
that's why I feel like when Rian Johnson said originally it was going to be Poe and Finn on that mission, and there was no Rose, it's almost like maybe that would have been stronger for those characters. Now, I mean, like, we haven't seen 9, but like you said, there's these characters. There's no real emotional connection between them. No. Finn and Rey in The Force Awakens is huge.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, in the new one, I think it's supposed to be Rose and Finn, but it never really hits you the way Finn and Rey did. No. Like, it just doesn't hit like that, and that's, I don't know, that's just product of whatever. Yeah, and Poe is Poe. Poe is on his own, but because he was supposed to die, right?
Yeah.
So he's always kind of been on his own, which is also fine. But him and Boyega have chemistry together.
Yeah.
I mean, people have shipped them.
Yeah.
They have chemistry, and I think it would have been fun to see them together. And then their relationship in 9, like their whatever, like would have been, I think, more. And then you have all three of them, Rey, Finn, and Poe, are like this dynamic trio.
Yeah.
Of characters that are all kind of like get each other, because I think Poe works the best with BB-8 and Finn works the best with Rey and Poe, and Rey works the best with Finn.
Yeah,
and Han Solo. He's dead.
But because it is, I mean, you could argue against it, but like there is, this character is this character. Like Rey is Luke, Finn is Han, and Poe is Leia. Like. There's that comparison, but like again, it's sort of missing. I'm not critiquing. Like I still love these characters. I want to know more about them. Could I see some of them being in the next trilogy after 9? Possibly, but we know nothing about the next trilogy. Yeah, even if it doesn't. Like, I know the question is Episode 9, but if Episode 9 happens and then a couple years we get Rian Johnson's new trilogy. Do we get a whole new group of people?
Yeah, he said it's not connected at all to it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Like, what if they don't end it in 9?
So, like, do we still have, like, the First Order, the New Republic, or the Rebellion, or whatever?
I think his is going to take place in a time period we've
Really?
never seen and a part of the galaxy we don't know. Like, it's just going to be a completely new Star Wars, which begs the question, what is Star Wars?
Yeah.
Because I was talking to, I think, Josh, Den of Nerds, the other, and I was like, what's Star Wars to you? And he responded with something. And I can't remember what. But I don't think he didn't really mention Jedi or anything. And I'm like, but my thing, I think don't quote me. But if you don't have Jedi or the Force, what is separating Star Wars from another sci-fi fantasy movie? Like, what is a Star Wars film? Because Rogue One doesn't have Jedi. It has Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But it still feels like Star Wars. So what is Star Wars, like we mentioned earlier, and what will make Rian Johnson, aside from the name, what will make Rian Johnson's trilogy Star Wars if he decides not to? I mean, I think the Force will be used in it, but it won't be Jedi. And the thing is, I know everyone's like, you don't need Jedi to be the Force, but Jedi are cool. Like that's like you watch it for the lightsaber. Like you don't watch it for lightsaber fights, but that's such a big part of it.
Yeah. Well, like think about like comics, like superhero comics, where it's just like there are examples where you don't have to have your quote unquote superhero. Like sometimes you like have someone with no powers. Like there's a lot of interesting Batman stories where it's just Bruce Wayne, or whatever. It's just Bruce Wayne as a man, sort of thing like that. Or Logan. Logan is a superhero film, but it's not a superhero film. You know what I mean? Like, but you could still say that's an XMen film because it has all these other characters. So
and he still uses his claws.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's more about his mortality as a living being. You can't call him human or mutant or whatever. So it's a simple answer is like, just put like a spaceship or the concept of how their ships work, or the concept of like the Force is a thing, or mention a planet you understand, or I don't know, and then it would feel like a Star Wars film. But that's like just mention Tatooine, it's Star Wars. I don't know, but I seem that's like a cop out. But like think of a lot of different things where people are like, well, these kind of work together. They're in the same galaxy. Again, Disney is probably a bad example, but like in Frozen, it matches with Tangled, because they drop little things in there, and that's just animators being fun. Like any of the Pixar movies, there's always like a truck or a pizza or something like that, where it's like they all bond together. Like simple little things is like, oh, that people can say, oh, that enriches, that makes that universe feel whole, but like it doesn't take away from the movie. So I mean, that's one answer. I don't know. Like I was hoping to be like, you get a new trilogy and then you meet an old Poe or something like that. It's like, I'm Poe Dameron and I have a beard now.
You just want more Poe.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what I mean? Like,
no, it's going to be brand spanking new. I think it's going to be the Force. I think the Force will be around, but there won't be Jedi. I hope there are Jedi.
So then, I guess the question is, could Lucasfilm make a new franchise that is sci-fi based, but is not Star Wars?
Well, it's going to be under the Star Wars banner.
No, I know it's going to be under the Star Wars banner, but like, you're kind of almost saying that. Like, it's...
That's the thing. It's like, what is a Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
That's the question. And I think that's why we talked about it, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, where it's like, well, when Disney bought them, they had to bring Luke, Han, and Leia back, because otherwise, what is a Star Wars movie? And then Rogue One kind of said, this is a Star Wars movie.
Is it like the universe building? I don't know, because like, look at Valerian. Wasn't a huge success, but it tries to be... the comic is slightly based on Star Wars, so...
But you look at the Knights of the Old Republic, and that's Star Wars, but it takes place way like thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
But there's still Jedi and Sith and lightsabers,
Yeah.
but there's no rebellion or First Order or Empire. So what is Star Wars? Is Star Wars Jedi and Sith battling out forever? Is it just the Force? Which honestly, I think the Force could. If it's just the Force, that could be boring. Because like I said, I just don't want to see people lifting rocks.
Yeah.
Because they can.
And it's like putting Superman in something. You're like, we'll just put Superman. He'll do something.
Yeah. Like so. Anyway, guys, what is Star Wars to you?
Yeah.
One last thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because you know what was fun before Last Jedi came out was we got to have fun talking about stuff. And let's have fun again talking about stuff. Can Rey have a purple lightsaber in 9?
Sure.
I want a purple lightsaber.
Yeah.
But I want it to be the reason why, like the retcon reason why Mace Windu had a purple one. How like she's really like in the dark and the light.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want. I want the Mace Windu purple lightsaber to be Rey's. And I don't want it just to be because Daisy Ridley's like, I like purple.
What was that story read about like someone having a pink sparkly? Oh, that was like her Daisy really like if I had a lightsaber it would be like this.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want the Mace Windu purple.
Yeah.
Imagine she goes up to she's like, hey JJ, yeah, I have a pink and sparkly lightsaber. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then she's like, you're like, what is happening? There we go. Moving on. You're supposed to talk.
Never tell me the odds. You don't tell me what to do.
Today's odds are brought to us in part by
us.
Just us. And now this video will not be approved for monetization.
Hooray!
All right. The odds of pod racing and solo. We talked about it on this episode of Parsecs that dropped just a few hours ago. Brock, yes?
I want to go full Brock, but I don't know. 40%.
Ooh, that's a low one. I'm going to go full Brock. Well, we talked about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm full Brock. Yeah. I don't even know if it makes sense for Han Solo to be a pod racer, which is tough for me to say. Second odd, the odds of Force Ghost... Wait, this is an old one. The odds of Rey having a purple lightsaber.
75%.
Nice. 102%. Why not? I can do that, right?
Yeah.
I want it to happen. Because J.J. Abrams watches this show. He emailed us the other day. And he goes, hey guys, what do you want in episode 9? And I said, purple lightsaber, Watto, Porg and Ewoks, and Gungans. And that's what I said. And he goes, thanks.
So, puppet show, please. Thank
I
you.
was just like, can you just have Frank Oz doing it? Oh, Frank Oz. And our final odd, the odds of K2SO type droid in the Solo movie.
I want this to be 100%. Like, he needs to be... I obviously can't really put that character in again, per se, but, like, it would be amazing just to be there. Like, yes.
Well, not K2SO, but, like, that style
like
droid.
A style droid.
Yeah, because it's in Rogue One.
Yeah.
It's scary. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like Maz Kanata not being in Solo makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
This droid, if we do see an Empire with Imperials in, like, a station... There should be a K2SO type droid.
Right.
That's what I would say to that. All right. Yeah.
Hello, news.
Live
the
from
news
Coruscant.
you need to know when you're renewing your driver's license to turn off my laptop.
Your laptop turned off.
Sweet.
The first news story has to do with Han
Solo in China. It was revealed by a Chinese filmmaker that the title for Han Solo in China will be Ranger Solo. And they will drop Star Wars. There won't be, I guess it won't be on the trailer, but I'm assuming you would see Star Wars in the name in some point in the movie. But it'll be dropped mostly because it's not doing well in China. I believe Force Awakens made about 120 million, and Rogue One did 69 million, and Last Jedi did 41 million, which is not great. So they've dropped it, and it will be referred to as Ranger Solo, which is
great
hilarious.
name. I'd watch that.
Next story. This weekend was the 60th annual Grammys, and I love that name, Grammys. I'm like, what does it mean? I'm like, all right, gramophone. One of the big winners, I don't know if it's a big winners, but it's big winners for us. Carrie Fisher won for the audiobook version of her memoirs, The Princess Diaries, which tells of her time shooting the first Star Wars film and creating the character Princess Leia in her own manner. It was a big news story last year because it reveals the relationship that Harrison Ford and her had while shooting that film, or a little after, I can't remember. And of course, unfortunately, he was married at the time, but celebrities be crazy. This is not her first nomination. She had a nomination for her 2006 HBO special Wishful Drinking. She did not win, but she wins posthumously, and that's really cool. So Star Wars was a part of Grammys. That's awesome.
John Williams also won a Grammy.
Though the Star Wars franchise seems to be like it's printing its own money, there were times where a lot of canceled projects tried to get off the ground but did not. Den of Geek, the website, check them out. They did a really cool article on it, compiling the 43 most interesting canceled Star Wars projects. I won't go into them because there's 43 of them. The main one being like George Lucas talking about a third trilogy. What would it be? And there's a lot of comparisons between the EU of the 90s. But he also says, wouldn't it be interesting if we did those characters in their 70s? He's like, well, then he would be 70 himself, making a movie he probably doesn't want to make. Apparently lost interest on that because at one point in 2008, he just said, well, I feel like the Anakin Luke Skywalker story comes to a close in Return of the Jedi. But then also in movies, there was the All Droids movie, the All Wookiee movie, which, the holiday special is pretty much it. The 3D release of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith were canceled because of the purchase by Disney. And then, of course, Josh Trank's Boba Fett. Other TV shows were Star Wars Underground, which we've talked on here. Darth Vader TV specials, which I have never heard of. And then the Star Wars Detours made by the Seth Green Robot Chicken guys.
Those trailers for that looked amazing. Did you ever see those?
No.
They were great.
The picture we have on the screen there, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, you've got... Okay, go on. After we're done this, watch
right
it.
now.
They are so good.
And then, of course, there's a myriad of video games. So check it out. They have an article. It's really cool. Yeah. So, Lucasfilm, Lucas Animation is hiring a new episodic director for future projects, which is interesting. The role is for those of you that don't know, an episodic director is someone who is expected to balance managing all the various aspects of production while successfully maintaining the highest quality of technical and creative storytelling possible for their respective episodes. So it sounds like a big leadership role, which hints at Dave Filoni wants to move on away from the animation probably into live action. So that's very interesting. And yeah, here's hoping that we'll get something. I don't know if they'll go New Hope era, or maybe, I think we've said it before, explain what happens between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens in a cartoon. But either way, I am excited.
I hope Filoni gets if he wants live action, I hope he gets to do the live action streaming show.
Yeah.
Because he is great with story arcs.
Yeah.
And episodic television.
Yeah, no, he knows what he's doing. And then our last story, We have no fear, EU fans. Your beloved characters of the 90s and I guess 2000s could be returning to a galaxy near you. Leland Chi, a member of the Star Wars story team, recently responded to a fan on Twitter who asked if some expanded universe characters may be reintroduced into the franchise, but by confirming that it was going to happen. He said, "You wouldn't believe some of the legend characters that will be cropping up in various media in the coming months. Hey, if Tag and Bink can show up, anything is possible," which is a reference to the new Han Solo film, which characters, some Imperial officers from the comics, Dark Horse era, are going to be dropped into that. I mean, and this seems like a knock out of the park for these guys because, like, with the success of Thrawn in the cartoon and the books, why wouldn't they do this? And, you know, this kind of appeases people. Like, you want your characters back? Here you go. But it's going to be our style. So I don't see a problem, and let's do it.
It's because you are a shill.
I am a shill. Thank you.
I'm very curious to see who they bring back.
I love this picture that you have the expanded universe because it's like
Rey?
the one on the far. I guess that's one of the Solo kids. Probably Jason. I just love that it kind of looks like a young Marlon Brando.
It's true. I like the picture of Rey right there.
Oh, boom.
You know, that looks just like Rey.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That could be maybe Jason and Jaina in the middle. Like, ugh.
Yeah. Well,
it would have been fun, but whatever. We got what we got.
Yeah, we've already read that.
Yep.
And, you know, whatever. Anyway, guys, so we are doing a Road to 100. Our 100th episode is coming in 21 weeks, which is sometime at the end of June or July. So we're doing the top 25 characters. What we're doing is 2 characters every single week. Until then, we will have 50 characters. And then on that episode, our Patreon subscribers will narrow that down to 25. We make them do all of the work. But they have selected these ones as well. And today's are 2 that I'm really happy made this list.
Yay, Jyn Erso.
And K2SO. I know a lot of people hark on, like they rag on how the Rogue One has no good characters and this and that. I actually really like the characters in Rogue One. I don't really give a crap.
It's kind of a character-driven movie.
Well, their personalities or whatever. I mean, like, sure, nobody's funny like Finn and K2SO is, but like, there's no Finn and Rey dynamic, and that's fine. But I mean, this movie is about getting the Death Star plans, and I think people lose sight of that. But I really like Jyn Erso is basically like a Han Solo, a military Han Solo, like a Han Solo with more grit.
Yeah,
I think. And K2SO is like what C-3PO would have been if C-3PO was created today.
Yeah.
My one gripe with K2SO from the start was almost at times he feels a little bit too human to me, but I don't care. I like him.
Right. Well, they reprogrammed him and he becomes more human. I love both these characters. I still love it when people try to like force Jyn Erso to be related to like Rey or something British. Like that. She's British and she has brown hair and she's a woman, therefore she's Obi-Wan Kenobi. But K2SO, I can't stop talking about that character. I think a lot of people I've talked to that love Rogue One, they're like, K2SO, like, that's my character. So, oh boy,
K2SO is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, do you have anything coming up in?
Yes, I don't have it on me.
Books and
comics. I recently, in the last month or so, read Wishful Drinking by Carrie Fisher, which is a very interesting. It's not really about Star Wars. It mentions Star Wars quite a bit. It's pretty much just the audio from her special where she talked about all this stuff. So it's a book, but it's her talking. But if you're really interested in the character of Carrie Fisher, I can't suggest it enough to understand like where her headspace was on a lot of things. It goes great with the Bright Lights documentary that HBO did. I hope to read the Princess Diaries sometime soon. I just keep forgetting to get a copy. But it was cool. It's very interesting. And if you want like really learn about mental health, that's pretty much the prime part of it. And I think it's relevant in today because like, we talk about mental health all the time because we don't even fully understand it. And that what she writes about is kind of dated, but at the same note, it's like, hey, like you need to worry about this because it's a situation. So. Yeah. Do you have anything?
I was going to bring a magazine again, but I forgot it, so we'll do it next week.
All right.
Yeah, because I was so excited to talk about Ewoks and the Han Solo. I like when people are like, no more Ewoks. I'm done with Ewoks.
Shut up.
But I mean,
Ewoks.
Like, you know, they don't have to like save the day. Why can't they just be in a movie?
They're just there.
I mean, for those watching,
folks, if you're new to our show, like, we are pro Ewoks here.
Wow,
we are pro. We're never not gonna like Ewoks.
That's actually true. Ewoks or Gungans is going to be coming up on a vote of no confidence at some point. That one will get.
Interesting.
I don't even know who I'd vote for Ewoks.
I don't like that because it's like both characters, both races that people hated in the movies. It's like, oh,
yeah, but they're both crucial to the Star Wars story.
Yeah,
they're so crucial.
Exactly.
We'll find out which one's more crucial coming up. Not soon, but eventually.
Yeah. Top 5.
Today's top 5 is brought to us by a Patreon subscriber.
Do you have the name?
Andy Higgins.
Andy Higgins. How could I forget?
It's written down on your rundown.
I know. I don't have it open.
Just so you know. This one I liked because you got to talk about your favorite ship 5 times. Top 5 fighter ships by Andy Higgins. Thank you for the suggestion. If you guys are on Patreon, you have a suggestion, email us, comment on it, whatever. Let us know. We will do it because we like talking Star Wars, and we know that you guys love Star Wars. And that helps us because that's my happy place is Patreon because people don't complain.
Yeah.
Top 5 fighter ships. Do you want to go first?
Yes. Number 5 for me is Slave One. I always thought it was an interesting. It's like, you know, it's like Boba Fett where like people are like, ooh, that's cool. Like, what is that? Well, I want to know more. And it became super popular, even though you only see it for like minor seconds. But then you see it again in the prequels. And I recently was reading. I think I put Aura's Singh on something, and it's like, apparently she had it at one point. I'm like, what? I didn't really go full research into it, but it's like, I guess she piloted it quite a bit when she was working with Boba Fett, so.
X-Wing. I know it's really low for you. You know, X-Wings are cool. They shoot things. They do the job very well. They've already appeared in Rebels, right? They didn't really get it interesting.
No, they didn't, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, which every other ship got one, but this one they were like, we glossed over this one. My number 4 is Slave One. I'll just go into it. Slave One is number 4. It looks cool. I like the Boba Fett one better. No, the Jango Fett one better than the Boba Fett one.
Right.
I like the paint job better. I think they did a better job back then.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is TIE Fighters because it's just... They're just, that noise they make is just like, especially in like Force Awakens where they're running through the market and Finn stops and he hears the sound of them coming in. He's like, oh God. So it's just a sound like you're fearful from it if you were to hear it in the distance. And I just think it's interesting because there's so many variations of them as well. I mean, I have one further in my list, but it's neat. I like the idea that the Empire just had one idea, and they just stuck with it. So,
okay, is Kylo Ren's shuttle considered a?
I was thinking about that myself too, but
if not, I'll go with Kylo Ren's TIE Fighter.
Right, the silencer.
Either the shuttle or the TIE Fighter. Yeah, so you guys decide. But I really like both of them. And Kylo Ren is one hell of a pilot. A little bit more so than Montana.
Yeah.
I really like. I like both of the designs. The silencer was kind of cool to see. I really like the shuttle, and I'm glad the shuttle showed up at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 3.
My number 3 is the B-wing because one of my favorite episodes of Rebels is when they get it for the rebellion, and it's just so interesting a history. Even though like in the movies, it's just you see it in like Return of the Jedi, you just see it, but I think it's a unique design, and you also I kind of like the bombers in Last Jedi because it kind of looked similar to that, but I had to go because that's more of like there's a lot of people on those ships. But B-wing, it's just like X-wing is like dangerous, but B-wings are even more dangerous. So,
what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Kylo Ren's TIE silencer.
Oh.
I wanted to mix it up a bit, and it's interesting. It's like it looked like. You know, like TIE Fighters are like, well, this one can do hyperspace. That one looks like it's legit. And it looks like it's a single pilot, but like I think you could fit a bunch of things in there. I don't know. It's cool. I like how they incorporate it as well. Have you seen that meme where it's like Kylo Ren's like, grandfather, tell me what to do. And it's just Anakin. It's like, do spins. And then that actually happens in the movies. But
I want to go with, I don't know the name of it. It's Obi-Wan's ship. Is it A-Wing? The one from Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, it's like the early A-Wing.
Like thing.
And it goes into the little thing that gives it hyperspace.
Yeah, that's my number 2. I like that ship a lot. I think that's really cool. And when Jango's chasing them, awesome moment of Star Wars. I gotta figure out the name. It's an A-Wing though, right?
That's it's like the early A-Wing.
I mean, I can't remember that. He can't remember R4. We're good. We're good. We can't remember. My number 1, Naboo Starfighter.
Oh, wait a second. I thought I had that on my...
You didn't.
I did.
Because your list is a fail.
Oh, I think I had that instead of TIE Fighter. Okay. But my number 1 is X-Wing, because blah. Why wouldn't it be?
Because Naboo Starfighters are way cooler.
No, I had it on there. I like the look of it. It's also like the early... It's kind of like the precursor to an X-Wing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the perfect example of Naboo. You know, I mean, you see it in the Naboo Starfighters, the bigger ships as well. It's just like they were even though it's there to like shoot things down, it's so stylish. You know, Naboo is like they were interested more in diplomacy than war. So
I love Naboo. It's a Delta 7 Athersprite class light interceptor.
Obi-Wan's thing.
Yeah, Delta 7 Jedi Starfighter. That's what it is. Obviously. I should have known that one. Andrew would have got that wrong in trivia.
Yeah.
That's our top 5, guys. Let us know what your top 5 is. And Andrew Higgins, thanks so much for sending that one.
That was awesome.
It was fun. I should have. You know what it was the Obi-Wan ship wasn't on my list, and then it was on my list, and then it wasn't, and then as we were doing it, I'm like, no, I really, really like that ship. So it was like a last minute addition to it, guys. This has been the 79th episode of the Rebel Scum Podcast. It's been a lot of fun. Episode 80. Yeah, it's okay. Episode 80 next week. That's a huge one.
Ooh la la.
And then we'll be talking about a solo trailer.
Hopefully.
We'll see what happens there. I'm going on vacation in a few weeks. A better job, because I will not be having the internet for an entire week.
Right.
Because where I'm going,
we don't have Wi-Fi.
They don't have. Well, they do, but it's like $15 a minute, and it takes you like 10 minutes to load a page. But anyway, guys, Brock, it's been fun. Do you want to tell anybody where they can find you? Or you
can find me at BFSmink on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me at Petsafina everywhere. There was a name key at the beginning of the video. You can check that out if you watched us. Thanks again, guys. Please like and subscribe the video. Give us the review and the ratings on the iTunes thing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's everything. So thanks a lot for taking time out of your day to join us here at the Rebel Scum Podcast. And Brock, you were always scum.
Rebel Scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.